Cerruti, a great drive from 5th position to finish 2nd in race 1. Starts from 5th again in the number 88 Alfa Romeo Giulietta. 6th place is the number 12, or should be the number 12 Luigi Ferrara Subaru. Sadly, that car not able to be fixed between races. A final drive issue with the transmission, and the team can't get it turned around quickly enough. In 7th position will be Brandon Godovic. A great race for him to finish 3rd earlier on today. Starting from 8th place, Luca Engstler, race 1 winner, and Matteo Homola put to the back of the grid because of breaching Parc Fermé regulations. You only get 15 minutes to fix the car between the two races, and the team took a little longer than that, did Liquimoli team Engstler, and because of the Parc Fermé neutralisation, as it's officially put on the timing sheet, car number 9 is put to the back of the field.
Well, the cars are off and running on their formation lap for round 2 of the TCR series here in the Middle East, and the Subaru's bevel gear in the final drive was the issue that has taken it off the grids. Now we've got an interesting situation here. Johnny Palmer alongside me, John Hindhaugh. Johnny, it's a reverse grid not on results but on qualifying from earlier on in the race weekend, and ironically the two cars at the sharp end of the field are cars that have to be preserved for the Hankook 24 hours.
That's a very good point, yes. You talk of the Seat Leon of Red Camels, that car being driven by Kane Aston. Originally it was meant to be Rick Broikers, but Rick's 24-hour race team really wanted him to concentrate fully on that race rather than these two TCR machines early on Friday morning, two TCR races I should say. So Kane Aston, his teammate, given the job of racing these cars over 2 12-lap encounters, and Kane, it'll be interesting to see how he gets on from pole position. Hasn't quite got the pace because that car's set up for the long distance run later on today and into tomorrow.
Cars to watch then, having to come through from the back. Clearly the winner of the first race, Luca Engstler, the young German driver. Luigi Ferrara, not there, of course, in that car. That's a shame. That's part of the variety. I think Michele Cerruti here in the Alfa Giulietta, mid-grid, but a car that was good enough for 2nd position. Mid-grid in terms of where it qualified, so it hasn't really gained or lost much from having the reverse grid, but that is a car with pace in it and a driver with a huge amount of experience. Michele has raced everything up to Formula E.
Yeah, as you say, earlier on, that is one of the highlights of her career, but she's also raced in the Block Pan Endurance Series and quite a bit of touring car racing as well. I think this is probably where her heart is and has helped to develop that Giulietta over the last few years as well. Yeah, it's a toss-up really between whether you want to start one race from the front and therefore the second race from the back, or do you start both from 5th, which is what she's doing. And the 303 car, which was due to start from pole, is already in the pit lane, so hopefully that car will take the start of the race, but it's going to be...
Is that tactical? I don't want to be the guy who leads everybody down into the first corner and potentially gets a tap. I'll join in afterwards, thank you very much.
Yeah, the car's not made it to the end of the pit lane though. I can see it from here. It's headed onto the apron proper to be received by the team. You can just see it if you're watching the live stream. Way over to the left, the bonnet is lifted on that car. So mechanical gremlins for Kane Aston. He won't take the start with everybody else. The green flag is waved at the back of the field then ahead of race 2 for the 2017 TCR Middle East Series. 5 red lights are now extinguished, and the 2 Golfs further back get a great start. So one of those will be Philipp Sladecka, already gaining ground, and I think charging past Stefan Gerder. Yes, he is. Sladecka leads the race, and he's brought Luca Engstler with him. You can't see Engstler because he's utterly silhouetted by the Audi as well. But Engstler in the number 8 car, and also making strides, was Matteo Homola as well in the 9 machine. So the Golfs very quick off the mark there indeed. Alfa Romeo still in 5th position, hasn't gained and hasn't lost any places, but that was fascinating to see the quicker Golfs really leave Stefan Gerder for dust in the number 7 machine. And as the cars break the beam at the end of the first sector, where's the number 7 car? Way down at the back, I think. 8 and 9 side by side. That's Engsler going wide on the exit of turn number 6. Careful not to do any door banging with Michele Cerruti in the Alfa Romeo. And Engsler now trying to be late on the brakes, level with another teammate. That's Godovic around the outside. Brandon Godovic gains the spot and almost pushing the Alfa out of that tight left-hander at turn number 9, the banked corner.
Well, that was Godovic using his NASCAR experience. Took the high line there early on. The car straightened up. Loads of momentum. James Kane second position now with a nightmare scenario. I've got half a chance of getting a good result, but I don't want the car to end up in very many pieces by being punted off by someone who's in this championship for the whole year. This is the competition debut for the RS3 TCR from Audi Sport Customer Racing, and there is a contingent from Neustadt, the home of Audi Sport. Chris Renke, the man at the head of that delegation here, very proud of this new car. All 18 of them already been sold. Further allocation for the US about to be released, we hear, in the next month or two. And James Kay at the moment, former British touring car ace through 14, the horseshoe straightening it up into 15, the right-hander. And as we come round to the end of the last lap, Johnny Palmer, it's going to be a complete change around from the grid we saw at the start.
Kane Aston has joined the race, by the way, so the end of this, the first lap, Kane Aston makes it the not quite full complement, because we didn't start with the Subaru, remember, because of that transmission issue that hit the SDI car very early on in race 1. Luigi Ferrara had a wonderful getaway and was in second position, which was eventually going to become the lead because of a penalty for Mate Hommler, the car you can see in third position right now, tucked in behind James Kay's Audi, and Hommler looking to pick off where his pace suggested he might be in race 1, and going through sector 1 quicker than anybody else on that lap. So got a good getaway, at least, from the standing start. Next time around will be the first of the flyers, of course. Philippe Sladeka had to retire fairly early on, well, about 2/3 distance after contact with James Kay. So these two cars have been doing some battling earlier on today, and James Kay, if he's wanting to get by Sladeka, will need to pick his opportunity slightly better than he did arguably earlier on in the 12-lap race. There's Kane Aston to confirm that the orange machine has taken its start in the race and hasn't dropped a lap, incidentally, but is way off the pace of everybody else. About 50 seconds the car has been losing as a result of its visit to the pit lane. So there's the 11 car of Philippe Sladeka. 1.2 seconds was the gap at the start of lap 2. Definitely the key battle at the moment is between the Audi of James Kay and Mate Hommler, second and third. And Hommler darts to the inside very late on. That's a good overtake at turn 12. Gets the move there in the second of the Liquimoly Golfs. That car not been fully finished off in terms of its livery. Still got the all-white roof. There was movement further back as well with a Golf way out wide. And James Kay isn't happy with that move, as you could quite rightly understand. And as the Audi comes back into my sight at turn 14, drawing level with the Golf, there's also movement right behind as well, as the Alfa Romeo of Michele Cerruti tries to get by Brandon Godovic. Can't quite do it there, though, at 14. So two duos become a quartet now for second position. Charging their way down into turn 16 they go. Very shortly we could have 6 cars scrapping away for second position. Over the line goes Philippe Sladeka then. 2 laps completed by the Slovak, and there's the gap back to Mate Hommler, his compatriot, then the Audi, and here comes the Alfa darting out of line from Brandon Godovic. Door very slightly ajar there for Michele Cerruti, but she doesn't try anything stupid. Long race, of course, even after this point. 10 more laps to do.
Mate Hommler very good in the first sector in that last lap, Johnny, and that's what gave him the opportunity in the middle sector to challenge on James Kay. Now that he's sprung away from the silver and grey Audi, can he do anything about the leader? It was nearly 2 seconds at the line, but without putting a stopwatch on him, it does look like he's already closed a little bit of the gap back down to Philippe Sladeka, who leads the motor race.
So Sladeka Hommler, then James Kay under pressure from Gudovic, and then the Alfa Romeo of Michele Ceruti with Luca Engstler right behind her. They're heading down this long straight now between turns 9 and 10. There is an overtaking opportunity at the end of this straight, and Kane Aston coming back in again. So clearly not happy with the issues of that car. Obviously sensed a gremlin or two on the warming up lap and didn't take the start from the grid, has tried, a lap, and is back in the pit lane, John.
But you know what? This is bad news for this race, but it's manna from heaven for the 24. They've just finished the 24-hour warm-up. Without this race, that car would have been having these problems either on the way to the 24-hour grid or in the first couple of laps, and that is a car that has a real chance of winning its class in the Hankook 24 hours. What they've now got is a couple, nearly 3 hours to get that sorted before it heads to the grid in 2.5 hours' time. Power steering problem I'm hearing from the pit lane and Bruce Jones. Power steering problem from the 303.
Ceruti hurling the Alfa into turn 14, trying to apply pressure but also receive it from Luca Engstler, try and soak it up. And Engstler a touch impatient now, you get the sense, the young German flashing the lights at Ceruti, raring to get by. Is there an opportunity at turn 1? I don't think Engstler's going to be quite close enough as they punch down the hill into the first corner of this 5.39 kilometre Dubai Autodrome circuit. It's race 2 of the championship. Rounds to come in about a month's time at Yas Marina, and they finish their season, their part season at the Bahrain International Circuit with rounds 5 and 6.
I think the thing that Luca Engstler's looking at, Johnny, he's nearly 4 seconds now away from the leader, and he doesn't really want that gap to get very much bigger. Mado Hommler has just done the best last lap time of the race, and he owns the first and third sector. James Kay, interestingly, fastest in the middle sector in that brand new Audi.
Engstler through at 7, but very nearly. The favour was repaid by Michele Ceruti on the approach to the kink at 8 and the proper turn at 9. They're going to be almost level down the back straight here. Certainly the front wheels of the Alfa are level with the rears of the Golf. They're going to wave at each other then as they head down the back straight. Or maybe not wave.
That Alfa's quick in a straight line, isn't it?
It's good, yeah. With the Golf
1750 only engine there against the 2-litre, but clearly that classic Alfa configuration of the 1750 inline 4 is producing the ponies there.
Yeah, but the Golf looked a bit more stable under braking, and that finally solidified the position for Luca Engstler, although he's a touch ragged at turn 12. That might provide another opportunity for the Alfa. Now, I think the pendulum finally swings in the favour of Luca Engstler, who is more concentrated now on Brandon Gudovic, the next car up the road. So that's 5th place for Engstler. He was hoping for a podium, he told Nick Damon a little earlier on, from this race. Bear in mind, started from 8th position, minus the Subaru, so kind of 7th really, and ahead of Mado Hommler, who was put to the back of the grid. That's wide from Engstler, and issue potentially with track limits there coming out of turn 15. Shows to us how hard he's pushing, but you don't want to be dropping all 4 wheels off the white line, as he's done exactly the same out of 60.
A fantastic couple of laps by Mado Hommler. It was 1.9 seconds as he goes across. He closed it last time to 1.1, and now it's less than 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, the 2 Slovakians really pushing hard here. Hommler wants the race lead. Questions of what might have been in the earlier race when he had to take the drive-through penalty because of that false start. So wants to legitimately win this race, and no indication that any of those starts for this race are under investigation. So we're all clear as far as that's concerned, and therefore we can enjoy this fight between Sledecke and Hommler at the head of the order. There's nothing between them at turn 7, and this is all playing nicely into the hands of James Kay. Watching them fight just ahead of him. Can he bring the Audi RS3 into the mixture for a potential race win?
Well, it was Philip Sledecke who made the mistake on the previous lap, but his 2.12.3 was 0.9 of a second slower than Hommler, but the fastest man last time around was James Kay in that brand new Audi.
There's further evidence that James is really hustling that Audi on and trying to get, well, he's virtually touching distance now, these 2 Golfs, who are far more concerned with each other and maybe haven't seen this Audi creeping closer and closer in its silver and green livery. Looks very smart, that, with the green detailing on the A and C pillars. just behind Brandon Godovic. May well make it 4 for the lead at the end of this lap. Lap 5 of 12. Wide there goes Philip Sledecke, using a bit of curb and far more than he is legally allowed to do. I'm sure he'll get away with it on the single occasion, but if he continues to run off the track, then might get a penalty heading his way. Now, hard on the brakes go Hommler and Sledecke. Hommler looked to gain a little bit of ground as they headed into turn 14 itself. The exit, though, classic kind of elastic band between the two of them. On the exit, the 11 car stretches its legs. Audi in third position of James Kay. Fourth place, Brandon Godovic. And remember, the man on the move is Luca Engstler. He'll be happy that these two cars are almost holding each other up at the head of the order then, because as John said a short time ago, the gap was virtually 4 seconds. It's still 3.8 actually from Sledecke back to Luca Engstler, with Sledecke and Hommler thinking about being 2 abreast at turn 1, but they stay single file. That's the sensible approach.
It's the American in fourth position, Brandon Godovic, who has the fastest lap that time around, 2:12.1. It's starting just to ease out those lap times now as the Yokohama tyres have been pounded here on this circuit, and this is real racing at the front of the field, and we're going to have the leading quartet together, Johnny, I reckon, by the end of this lap.
So leaders totally together, blanket over those two, and then possibly a little bit more of a gap back to the Audi this time. I think just through the first sector of this lap, James Kay's not been overly clean, and that's a good run through the banked corner there at the left-hander for Matto Hommler. Looked to exit maybe slightly better than Philip Sledecke, although it's deceptive because I think maybe the high line gives you more of a springboard back onto that long straight. And as they reach turn 10, it's even Stevens still between Sledecke and Hommler, with James Kay hard on the brakes here, looking to get back involved. He's bringing Godovic with him in fourth position. The Alfa Romeo not very far away in fifth. Luca Engstler has fallen back to sixth position. So what's happened there? Chiruti ahead of the race 1 leader, and there into the turn 12 goes Hommler for a move for the race lead. Now, what Sledecke got planned here, he ran out wide a lap ago. He's going to do exactly the same thing. That might give him slightly more speed, though, down to the kink at 13. The next corner is a left-hander, which will favour Sledecke, and I think he's going to snatch the lead back again.
Watch James Kay, Johnny, because he is mighty on the brakes, and that Audi is clearly a very stable platform at the moment, as the leading pair are scrapping over which part of the tarmac they want. They are slowing each other down, and Kay goes down the inside. All 4 wheels from on the curb, and then now this is going to benefit Godovic as he comes through. He decides not to go down the inside as there's damage to the Liquid Moly Golf that was in second position. Matto Hommler is going to drop at least a couple of positions here.
Yes, James Kay has a little bit of history with Sledecke, but not with Hommler from the earlier race. Now, is that, yeah, it is actual bodywork rather than just a decal peeling off. So that's the top of the rear right wheel arch which has been damaged. I don't think it will slow the car too much. Godovic looking to slither his way up the inside of his teammate Hommler at turn 1. That didn't quite come off, and James Kay is now starting to set his sights on Philip Sledecke, the race leader.
Great advantage then for Philip Sledecke, because he did a 2:12.8. Everyone else in the 13s or 14s behind him, except Brandon Godovic at 12.6, and he is right there. I'm not sure who are going to be behind Sledecke. If Sledecke can keep his concentration, it's perm any 2 of the next 3 for the podium positions.
James Kay said to us earlier on in the week that he was looking to try and keep that Audi in pristine condition, bearing in mind it's going to do the 24 hours of Dubai. He's shown no evidence of that at all.
He's a racing driver. Remember, helmet on, brains out.
That's true, yes. He's obviously had a rethink, or maybe he just cannot take account of his thoughts during this 12 laps. Now, is there any sign of that bodywork working loose on the number 9? I wouldn't have thought so. Brandon Godovic is within touching distance of his teammate as they turn right at turn 10. The Audi's not very far away either, so Philip Sledecke might choose this opportunity to get a bigger gap as possible between him and James Kay, as big as it's been all race at least. We're over half distance now. Again, a wide run for the number 11 car, and even more curb being taken by Luca Engstler, who is back ahead, by the way, of Michele Chiruti in the Alfa.
Yeah, that's 5th position again for the Golf of Luca Engstler. The stewards saw what we saw, and the cars, 11, Philip Sledecke, and 9, Mato Homola. That incident under investigation, but with only a handful of laps to go, that might have to be decided in the steward's room. I've got a feeling they'll be called to teacher's office at the end of this.
Luca Engsler all over the curbs again out of turn 15, at least a car width away from the track as he headed down the hill towards 16 in the final corner here at the Dubai Autodrome. Now Sledecke and James Kay have a bit of history from race 1, so let's see whether James Kay's close enough to make a move at 1. Don't think he is, although he darts very slightly out of line of that first Liqui Team Engsler Volkswagen Golf. There are 2 more of those machines running in 3rd and 4th.
Also an incident involving Mato Homola and Luca Engsler under investigation as well. So I think that's a double bubble for Mato Homola. Incidents between him, Luca Engsler, and a separate one between he and Philip Sledecke, both being looked at by our race direction.
There is Mato Homola with the wheel arch flailing in the breeze, and the car is just about to head into turn 9 now, not taking the apex until very, very late indeed. And Homola looks to have a good exit out of that corner, which is crucial to get a good top speed down the back straight. The Audi is possibly drawing in actually the race leader Philip Sledecke, but we know the Golf is strong on the brakes. Sledecke having to put the car right in the middle of the track to defend from the 108 Audi. Rear right wheel way up in the air again, becomes stationary for a moment, and yes, the Audi about a car length off the back now of the 11 car, which clobbers the curb through turn 11. That unsettled the Golf then. The Audi looked a little bit cleaner through that corner. Very tight indeed under brakes. Didn't dart up the inside though, did James Kay, so biding his time a bit more.
It's cost him a little bit on the exit though, Johnny. I think the Audi is clearly the better car under braking in terms of the platform that it's giving James Kay. Sledecke knows that, and you rightly saw that he defended the middle of the road very early at the end of the back straight. Black and white flag to the 7, Stefan Good, to the 11, our leader Philip Sledecke, and to the 88, that's Michele Cerruti, all for exceeding track limits. So they are being watched, they have been warned, and any further indiscretion could cost them a drive-through, which this late in the race would be curtains for their hope for any kind of podium finish.
Sledecke is certainly one of those track limit culprits, and I would have said Engsler as well in the number 8 car. So they'll need to make their lines a little more neat and tidy. This time James Kay thinks about a move around the outside at turn 1. He was just trying to brake later than Sledecke. Wasn't able to get alongside though. Meanwhile, the 2 Golfs in the wheel tracks of the Audi are almost overlapping. Mato Homola and Brandon Godovic very close to one another indeed. And Luca Engsler wants a bit of this too, in 5th position, having fallen behind the Michele Cerruti Alpha a short while ago. He's got back in front now, so running in 5th, and soon to join this leading quartet of Sledecke, Kay, Homola and Godovic. They are heading into turn 9 now as one, and the Audi's going to go for it. The Audi of James Kay gets the race lead. Now what's the exit out of the corner like? Onto the back straight, way off onto the runoff area there for James Kay. Might be okay with that, because I haven't seen James not sticking to the track limits as badly as breaking the track as badly as some of the other goals, so that should be okay. There's the first misdemeanor for James Kay. Now up towards turn 10, and almost 3 abreast for the leading cars. It's the Audi up ahead, but the Golfs are going to change order with Homola jumping ahead of Sledecke there, and Homola's going to go for the race lead here up at turn 10, at 12 rather. Trying around the outside is Mato Homola. Didn't quite pull that off, but James Kay is under pressure here from 4 Liqui Team Engsler Volkswagen Golfs. You can defend from 1, you can probably defend from 2, but a 4-pronged attack here, and they're all trying to finish on the podium as well. This could end in disaster on lap 9.
I've seen RC races that look very similar to this, where every driver's got the same body bar 1, and this is exactly what it looks like. Top 5 are absolutely together as we come to complete lap at number 10. James Kay having to defend into the 16th and final corner, the right-hander that takes them onto the front straight. What a transformation of the performance of this Audi, and he's just missed a gear or something coming out of 16. The progress of the Audi stuttered for a moment, and that is all Matteo Hamola needed to go through and retake the lead, and it's 3 cars abreast into the braking area at turn 1.
And here comes Sledecka on the other side. Homola couldn't keep the pace for whatever reason. The Audi's overtaking him, but Sledecka up the inside, and the Audi goes through again. They're all totally off the track now at 2, through the kink and avoiding the barriers, thankfully.
Never mind the track limits, just keep racing, lads.
Yeah, but there's some massive foam rector-cell barriers there that could have been cleaned out, but they missed those, thankfully, and most of the body panels are still straight. I'm not necessarily that's the case for the Audi, which tries to turn in at turn 7, doesn't quite manage it, has to have another bite of the cherry, does James Kay. He's still just about defending from now, Brandon Godovic.
But he's been given a drive-through penalty. James Kay, leading the race, has been given a drive-through penalty in the RS3 TCR, the newest model from Audi Sport Customer Racing. Now, that's the only information that we've got so far. It can only be, surely, for track limits. We've not seen any bumping and barging.
Well, there was a bit of bumping and barging. There was side-by-side action, which peeled the wheel arch off.
Okay, yes, all right, maybe. Well, side-by-side, that's a bit, maybe a little bit harsh, particularly in touring car racing. And James Kay dives to the right-hand side of the circuit at turn number 11, the 3 Golfs behind him. It's rather like just throwing dice at the moment for those Golfs that are behind him. But James Kay with only a handful of laps. Now, does he come in and take that, or does he stay out and let them apply a time penalty and let his team argue it?
Well, this is lap 9, and I suppose he could serve it at the end of 9, and he's got 10 and 11. So, yes, there are 3 chances that he has if he pushes
go to
it.
the end of the race. You're allowed 3 laps before you come in.
Yes. But beg your pardon, this is lap 10, isn't it? So, yes, this is his first opportunity, 10, 11 and 12, true. It's difficult to say. I mean, I would come in, personally. He hasn't done on this lap, though, and he is enjoying his time out front, as you may well be as a touring car fanatic, and he's in the thick of the action here with 4 Golfs trying to mount this challenge, getting lighter by the second as more and more bodywork sheds. But Brandon Godovic has actually kept things relatively clean and could be on for a really good result here. Remember, taking James Kay out of the mixture, as we will do, regardless of whether he comes in for his penalty or the time is added to his race time at the end, then Godovic effectively leads this race from his teammate Matteo Hamola and Philippe Sledecka in what will be 3rd.
I wonder if James Kay might just keep on it and then dive into the pits and come through the last corner. The pit lane speed limit is not till just before the end of the pit lane. Then argue about it afterwards. He might actually still... Oh, he's gone wide again.
So that's going wide at 7. I have noticed the Audis struggle to turn in properly at 7, and it's a real job to get that booted car at the right trajectory to negotiate turn 7 and then set it up for 8 and 9. Onto the back straight they go between 9 and the great overtaking opportunity at 10. Now, Homola's not going to be close enough to Godovic, who now leads the race after that mistake by James Kay. Wasn't exactly home and dry. Here comes James Kay, very late on the brakes indeed at turn 10. He was under an awful lot of pressure from 4 Volkswagen Golfs and has broken to that pressure, running a tad wide at 7. That gave the opportunity to American driver Brandon Godovic, the busiest man surely here at the Dubai 24 Hours, doing prototype racing at the start of the week, these 2 TCR races, and taking part in the 24 Hours later on today as well. Car off in the background, just wide at least for Philippe Sledecka, towards the kink at 13. This is the penultimate lap, and Brandon Godovic leading the way from Matteo Hamola and Philippe Sledecka.
And there will be a yellow flag at turn 12 until the end of the race. That, I think, must be for debris. There's certainly not a car over there. The detritus from the number 9 VW Golf of Matteo Hamola, perhaps causing that as we count down towards the end of the race.
So out of turn 16 for the 11th time go the race leaders. Godovic, Hamola, who was again off the track there and pushing the limits beyond the limit, and that will be counted again. Remember, they've got these potential penalties hanging over them. James Kay's already been given a penalty. He gets very close indeed to Hommler under braking at turn number 1. No opportunity to get by, though, in the Audi RS3. When's he going to come in to serve this drive-through? Car off at turn 3 as well, which is Luca Engstler. And no matter how hard Luca Engstler tries, the race 1 winner, he can't get close to his Liqui Engstler team golf teammates. And runs around in 5th position at the moment. Sledecka is just a bit further up the road.
It's Michaela Cerruti and the Alpha that must be stuck out at turn 12. I have to say, I couldn't see it through the binoculars, but she has dropped a couple of laps, 3 laps down now on the field, and it has gone missing in that sector. So unseen by us, I'm afraid. Looks like a technical issue for the Alfa Giulietta after such a great run to 2nd place in the opening round of the 2017 TCR Middle East season.
There is Godovic on this final tour then. He is enjoying just over half a second as a race lead from Matto Hommler in 2nd position. Remember, Hommler, starting from the back of the grid for this 2nd race of the championship, has worked his way through a very busy race indeed to 2nd position. He has behind him James Kay in the Audi, then a bigger gap back to Philipp Sledecka.
And they're just passing the stricken Alpha there, off to driver's right just before the turn-in, but to 13, but it's not in a place of danger enough to bring out the safety car, being looked at with yellow flags locally there, and I think that's pretty sensible, as there's a couple of corners go for Brandon Godovic. What a versatile American road racing driver we have here.
Yeah, he has really soaked up a lot of pressure indeed, and he's going to get his just rewards here. Out of turn 16 comes Brandon Godovic. Matto Hommler almost in touching distance. He's not going to be able to get by there before the line, and over the line goes Brandon Godovic to take his first victory in the 2017 TCR Middle East Series from Matto Hommler. And James Kay provisionally in 3rd position, but still has that penalty to serve, and therefore extra time will be added to his race time, which will put him further down the order. Therefore, we should, I think, promote Philipp Sledecka to 3rd position once all that unwinds itself. Stefan Goerder might be good enough for 4th. We'll have to wait and see when the official results are released, but finished on the road at least in 5th place ahead of, well, we're still waiting for Luca Engstler to come over the line, and Luca wasn't very far away from the race leaders. Here comes Luca Engstler then, very slow indeed. We haven't reached the pit lane speed line yet, and Luca Engstler's Golf has already given up the ghost.
That looks like he had some steering issues there.
Possibly. There's Franz Engstler appearing at the screen. Now, good news for the team, of course, with a victory for Brandon Godovic and Matto Hommler in 2nd position, but his son Luca, who won the first race, goes straight to the weighbridge and to post-race scrutineering. What is the issue there? Does finish in 6th position, Luca Engstler, so gets points for that, and was leading the championship by virtue of a race victory, and qualifying yesterday also carried points. So started this race, did Luca Engstler, with 30 points.
I think Brandon Godovic will leave here as the championship leader.
You may well be right, yeah, after another 25 points. That's
a 3rd and a 1st.
That's a very consistent run, isn't it?
He was saying he was considering doing the rest of the season over here. A young gentleman that has a varied career of road racing in the States, although likes coming to other parts of the world. Started with the oval racing and the stock car side of things that's so popular in the States. Has done some Lamborghini racing as well in the Super Trofeo with some success, it should be said, although in 2016 Shinya Mishimi really dominated the US Championship. But Brandon Godovic, one of the drivers that came to the World Finals at Valencia at the beginning of December in 2016, and gave a good account of himself there. And now, having competed in 3 different championships, he's done 4 of his 5 races this weekend. Just one more race, then he can go home.
Yeah, exactly.
Just happens to be 24 hours.
But very limited experience in front-wheel drive machinery, Brandon Godovic, and in races with standing starts, as we mentioned in the earlier commentary. But as far as the TCR Middle East Series is concerned, Brandon Godovic is hot property, I would suggest.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see a young man in such form. and brings the car in. Just one comment about James Kay. The drive-through penalty graphic was lifted before the end of the race, despite the fact that he didn't come in. Now, I didn't see anything or hear anything on from race control to suggest that that penalty had been rescinded.
No.
But it did disappear before the end of the race. So that is perhaps something that Bruce Jones might be able to ask James Cape, who I'm sure was backwards and forwards on the radio to the team, and a chance for Bruce to have a word with Brandon Godovic before he heads to the podium. What a great way to start the 24-hour race day, with a victory twice on the podium in his front-wheel drive driving debut for the American.
Yeah, so it may be that we do see James Kay on the podium. Don't want to speak too soon, because
no, you're right.
The conversation was obviously had in race control and the penalty was issued, but that doesn't mean to say it can't then be rescinded during the race. I have to say, a battle-scarred Audi RS3, particularly down that left side, just in front of the rear wheel. You can see tyre marks, the donut ring from another Yokohama of a Golf, and also the front left corner rather battered and bruised as well. Now that's the corner that was affected in race 1 after contact with Mato Homola. Philip Sledecka, wasn't it, on that occasion, and then further contact with Homola in this race. There is Sledecka, who finished 4th on the road, and the number 11 car just being weighed to make sure that everything is kosher at the end of race 2, and that car will quickly return to the paddock as well. So Luca Engsler getting to the end of that race, but way down with nursing an issue in 6th position. Sadly, Michele Ceruti didn't finish at all. And we understand that James Kay's penalty will stand, so James not heading to the podium. Philip Sledecka, therefore, to take his place in 3rd.
Now, not sure whether Bruce is going to be able to get to the drivers here as the cars are being taken out of the pit lane with some speed. The leading 3, of course, will go to the podium. We'll keep an ear out for that. A small grid, but a proper touring car race. Plenty of action, little bit of paint swapped, and somebody undoubtedly called to the stewards before they're sent home again. That's a touring car race.
Hashtag standard, you might say, for a TCR race. Yeah, it's a reverse grid, isn't it? You know, they always generate action as the quicker guys have to work their way, whereby the slightly slower and less experienced drivers, and Fox to Brandon Godovic, who, it's fair to say, he's an awful lot of experience through various different motor racing disciplines, but the front-wheel drive touring car aspect has been absent from his CV. Well, he's quickly corrected that this weekend and proven himself to be very, very quick in these cars too. Looks
like we may be going directly to the podium presentations without a chance to talk to our race winner, Brandon Godovic, which is a little bit of a shame, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. Bruce Jones is nothing if not a terrier-like. Bruce, good morning.
Good morning, John. I'm running up to intercept him if I can. Where did he go? You know, when there are 2 ways to get to a podium,
you always choose the wrong way.
But he's not to be seen. Maybe he's having a quick drink or something. But
okay,
we will get him. We will get him.
Thanks, Bruce. Bruce Jones down in the pit lane for us for this event. Well, that's the first 2 rounds of the TCR Middle East Championship. 2 more circuits to go to, and they're crackers. For the Yas Marina circuit, there'll be a couple of rounds there, and then Bahrain, I believe, as
That's
well.
Right. Yeah, to finish their year in March. So just the 6 races, a very quick fire season.
I think James Kay has been wrangled by Bruce Jones. 3rd position looks like it's going to be taken away from him, but the Audi did lead the race on debut. Bruce?
John,
Go ahead,
we
Bruce.
can find out about it. The reason James Kay didn't come in for a drive-through penalty, they had no working radio.
Yeah, we had no radio in the first race or the second race, and unfortunately we couldn't fix it between the first and second because we had to do the warm-up for the 24 hours.
Okay, let's take all that away. The car looked fantastic, and certainly looking at the way it was behaving, very different to the way the Golfs handle that on the circuit.
Yeah, considering that car is essentially set up for the 24-hour race, we were carrying lots of fuel, we were using long-distance pads. I'm very encouraged. I think the car's a winner.
Well, we're saying the grid wasn't big, but by golly, the racing was fantastic out there. 4 of you fighting for the lead.
Yeah, you could say the grid wasn't big, but the quality of the drivers was very, very good. You know, some of these guys have won international TCR races, so on we go.
On we go. Great stuff, and our pleasure. Well, go and have a hose down and get racing again. That's your weekend, isn't it?
Start the 24-hour race now with whatever I've got left.
Well, it looks quite racy with those donuts on the side. Good stuff, James.
Thank you.
Proper touring car driver, James Kate. And, yeah, of course, the radio wasn't working. Never is when you're being called.
That's right, that's right. It's a problem we've had all day.
Can't hear you, James. Can you? Hello? Very good indeed. He'll lose that third position that was so hard fought for. I think there will be encouragement for the Audi.
I don't think he's that bothered actually, because
No.
I think the potential in that car is massive.
Exactly, and I think that's exactly what you saw there. I mean, given that it didn't have its sprint brakes on, it was still very, very good on the brakes indeed from the fast parts of the circuit, the hard braking areas. Now, James Kay is a very good operator, a decent little steerer, and clearly works the middle pedal very well as well. Philippe Sladecka should be promoted onto the third step of the podium then, given that drive-through was not responded to by the Audi. And all of those, anyone who bought one, and all of those from Audi Sport who are here will be looking at that RS3 TCR's performance, and I think will be very happy indeed. As they came across the line, Johnny?
Yeah, there's the order. Brandon Godovic winning after 12 laps by 0.786 of a second from Matto Homler. So Volkswagen Golf from Volkswagen Golf. James via the pit lane completed his 12 laps, and Michele Ceruti was a retirement, as was Kane Aston. And Luigi Ferrara didn't start the race in the Subaru STI. Now, Bruce Jones has found our race winner, Brandon Godovic.
Brandon, you've got every reason to look as though you had a bit of a race out there. Back of the grid, up towards the front. Championship leader, not a bad start to your season.
Yeah, not too bad. You know, I think maybe if I hadn't done a couple rookie mistakes on the first race and stalled it twice, maybe I could have ended up with 2 wins there. But definitely fun 2 races. It was a fun day. Glad to take home a win there at the end and be the championship leader. I think because of that, I'll probably end up doing the next 2 races, which was all dependent on how today went. So I think you might see me again in here.
I'm sure we will. Best of luck. Obviously, just one small race to go for your rather busy time here at Dubai, the 24 hours. Brandon, great to have you in Europe.
Yep, thank you. Appreciate it.
And in a moment or two, Godovic, Matto Homler and James, and rather Philippe Sladecka will head to the podium, and on the live stream you'll be able to see that as Michele Ceruti's Alfa Romeo Giulietta makes its way back to the paddock on the back of a flatbed. And a shame to see that after the car performed so well in race 1 in second position. She was charging hard and keeping up with the pace of the leading Golfs and Audi before that problem struck. Now, Sladecka making sure he gets the right step on the podium. It's the longer trip to the far side to step number 3. Second position going to Matto Homler, who's quick to congratulate his fellow Slovak, and to stand between them will be Brandon Godovic. He's had Proto Series experience earlier on in the week, now winning TCR. What will he do in the 24 hours? Let's hear the national anthem for the winning driver.
Round of applause. Well done. Congratulations, gentlemen. Time for the trophies. Trophies presented by Emir Aktazadeh from VP Racing Middle East. Trophy for third position. Well done. Congratulations, Filip Sladeka from Slovakia. Trophy for the second position. And also the Liqui Moly step for the photo. Thank you, gentlemen. Well done. Thank you for being with us this weekend here at the Dubai Autodrome for the first 2 rounds in the TCR International Series Middle East.
3 very smart trophies handed out then to the top 3 drivers. Brandon Godovic standing between the 2 Slovaks in some Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo overalls, but that's because of his experience throughout 2016 in that championship in the United States and also raced at the season finale in Spain. So the championship, brand new for 2017, the TCR Middle East Series, all the way over the next 4 races. Thoroughly entertaining way to kick off the weekend, I suppose.